Hi,
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I was
Doing really good.
trying to find the buttons down here.
I was having some difficulties myself logging on, so you're not the only one.
Okay, good. Thank God.
But thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Oh my God, no, I'm so happy to be doing this. I'm glad that it worked out.
Me too. Me too. And I'm excited to say that you were the third Superman actress that I spoke to on my channel here.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Who have you talked to?
Eric and Adam.
Oh my God, such great guys, right? Like, oh, what a joy.
They were really wonderful to talk to you. And Eric and I talk a lot on Instagram, so that worked
Um,
out. Told him that we're going to be talking to you, so you're very excited about that.
oh, I love that.
I wanted to ask, how did you first get involved with Superman and Lois?
You know what? It was just like an audition that led to a callback and like a director session. And then, yeah, we just kind of jumped into it. It was
Oh,
quite a whirlwind.
were you a DC fan before you got involved?
I wasn't a DC fan. I wouldn't say that I wasn't a fan, actually. I just like really didn't know a lot about the world of it, really. But I feel like being on Superman and Lois and also having long conversations with with our showrunners or with Wale specifically, who knows so much about the DC world. It felt like a bit of a crash course. So I'm just so happy to be a part of this community.
I've been a fan of the DC a lot more now for the last 10 years than I was before that. The Arrowverse kind of changed all that for me. So I learned a lot over the years that I didn't know before. I have to say, I love the TV shows more than I love the movies.
Oh, do you?
I do. The Superman shows, Tyler's definitely my Superman for sure, my generation.
Tyler is a good Superman.
Really good. It's funny. I was watching him and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think I ever actually grew up with the Superman of my generation.
It's so funny. I feel like shows, especially like superhero shows and DC shows, like you kind of get to, it's something to look forward to every single week. And it's you kind of get very involved in everyone's story for quite a long time. So I can totally see that.
Everyone's taught me a lot on these shows. It's not only just the characters, but the cast and the crew as well. You guys have inspired me greatly.
I appreciate hearing
Mhm.
that.
Means a great deal to me personally. I'm not sure your rep told you that, but I'm on the autism spectrum. So having all these characters to relate to just means a great deal for me personally.
There is a great thing that our show does, and that there are so many characters, and they are so very different. And I feel like people could find themselves in every single one of them, even if it's just like different aspects of them and different parts of their character and their core.
And I agree.
Yeah, it's developed in a really great way, and I'm so happy to hear that it resonates with you.
Me too. It's kind of hard to find characters to relate to personally nowadays, especially in the superhero genre. I just find a lot more relations for that.
Yeah, oh, love that.
Thank you. When you first auditioned for the role, what was it about your take on Chrissy that made the crew like you so much?
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. I hope they like me. Yeah, I don't know. It was really fun getting the sides and getting the audition for it. And she was described as this go-getter and, has a knack for sometimes saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I'm like, well, that's kind of very much like me.
Me too.
Okay, great. So we both can relate to Chrissy in that way. But yeah, it was a lot of fun playing her because there was, one of the audition sides. It was really great. She kind of, you got to really see her at her core, kind of being a little bit more serious.
Right.
And so it was really fun to have that sort of juxtaposition of like, oh, she's this bubbly thing who talks very fast and sometimes can't catch her breath. And trails off in the middle of conversations, but she knows who she is, you know?
I do. Actually, when I was doing some research on for our interview, I found out that Chrissy is an original character made just for the show.
Yeah.
Someone that's not in the comics, and that kind of just blew me away. I had no idea that your character was not even in the comics. What is it like to portray a character that wasn't in the comic books, but as an original on screen?
You know, it's really interesting because you get I guess like a bigger mold to play with, right? So you can kind of build her from the ground up and discover new things about her, and there's not really much of a blueprint, and she has to fit into this world in a way. But it's really humbling to get to play Chrissy and to grow as she grows throughout the seasons and throughout the episodes as each one progresses. She's changed, shouldn't say changed, but yeah, I guess like she's developed so much more since we first got introduced to her. But I will say though, when I was like doing a bit of research at home with my partner, we discovered that Beppo is actually the name of one of the super pets, the super monkeys.
Right, I did read about that. I almost forgot.
So I kind of kept that in my back pocket a little bit of like, oh, okay, maybe like that's her. Maybe that's just like the secret that she has for herself, or the little thing that I get to, I don't know, like kind of look back on a little bit or something, because she doesn't have a blueprint. So it was really fun trying to find anchors, I guess, here and there.
But I actually forgot about that. I read about it when I was doing research, and I thought that was really fascinating. And then you mentioned it, I'm like, I totally forgot.
I know, it's fun. It's a fun little like Snapple fact that it's just sort of.
But season 3 has definitely been a very interesting season for me to watch as a fan. It's so interesting to see because you have a relationship with Kyle now, with Eric. And what was it like to work on that this season?
It was so much fun. It was so much fun because really also at the core of it too, it felt like getting the privilege to work with another actor that I hadn't had the opportunity to work with for the previous 2 seasons. We had one scene together, and it wasn't even really an exchange between the two of us in season 1, and so it felt really good to expand in that way. And he's such a phenomenal actor and such a joy to work with. When I was first told about this storyline, it was definitely a very surprising moment. I did not see it
I didn't
coming.
see that coming either.
Yep, I think everyone can agree on the fact that nobody saw this coming.
But I dig it. I definitely dig it.
But it made sense, you know. I think both of us kind of had that moment of like, wait, what? And then right when we got to set, and we immediately had like a great sort of chemistry just as actors working together, and I love his process, and it just felt like it clicked. So I had been enjoying it all season long.
I'm still enjoying it now, so I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of the season. And speaking of the season, you've had a lot more screen time on the show compared to the other 2 seasons that you had episodes on. You got to spend time with Eric. You had a little more time with Chrissy, Lois Lane after the whole cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
What has that arc been like to play, given that the cancer storyline is so different from what audience can expect in this series?
I think that I think the storyline is so important for so many reasons, and I think it's a true it's something that, you know, families go through. It's something that people go through, and it's as somebody who's read the scripts and I get to be around it on set and seeing how the different characters interact with her, like before the diagnosis, throughout the diagnosis, like how everything has been playing out. It's just kind of like a slice of life. I think that the writers and the showrunners and everyone does such an incredible job, and the actors as well, of making everything so grounded and everything really, really hits in such a specific way and specific to each character, and what their relationship is with Lois. But it's been it's been really, really fascinating because as the storylines change and as each episode progresses and as each season has progressed, relationships build, and it's been so much fun to see where that comfort level is, where everyone is hurting, how everyone reacts to hurt, how everyone reacts to anything, really. So
And
it's
the whole change just kind of blew me away, because when the season 3 trailer dropped, Lois literally says she might be pregnant. So I'm looking forward to that one, but then the whole cancer thing kind of threw me off. But it's been fascinating to watch as the season progress.
Yeah, I know. I think all of us sort of had that reaction of it as well, of like, that feeling of joy and like just completely feeling deflated. But Lois is such a strong character, and Bitsy portrays her in such a fabulous, fabulous way. So it's been quite the season. I will say, for
It
everyone.
really has been. It's definitely got a lot of emotional roller coasters going on. And it was a little less intense than the previous 2 seasons, but I think last season was the most tense for me, because there were so many wow moments with the big world going on. And now this season is just all about the emotions.
Yeah. I think there's really something to be said about the balance that that I really do feel that the show provides of this. This is the story of Superman, but it's also the story of Lois and the family and of Smallville, and it's pretty remarkable in that way, that it could be all of those things.
This show shows things that previous films or TV series in regards to Superman have not seen before. And that's what I really like about it, because it's different from previous iterations of the character.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see, what's the next question? What is it like to be a part of the DC universe?
Overwhelming. Overwhelming, humbling, exciting, slightly nerve-wracking. I know what this means to so many people, and what it means to me as well. And to be invited into that community, it means the world. It really, really means the world. I don't think that I understood exactly the weight of it initially, but I very quickly caught on. So yeah, it feels very humbling, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Major franchises in regard to superheroes, I guess I can kind of understand how overwhelming that could be. That could be for anyone.
Yeah, and to be a part of a show where everyone works so hard, and Superman stands for hope, and like, what an incredible thing to be a part of, and what a beacon of light that is, really.
And that's why he's my favorite DC superhero.
Love it.
No, I read a character I grew up with. You don't have the dark tale that they show. Like Batman, pretty dark. But when I watch Superman, it's a much lighter character than anyone else in the franchise.
Yeah, and he's always out looking for the good in people. And I think it was in the last episode that Lois actually had said that to him. And it really took me back, because of course we all know it, but to actually see it play out, I'm like, yeah, no, as a superhero, he kind of stands alone in that way.
That's definitely something that I've observed as a Superman fan the last decade or so. I mean, I know I grew up with Brandon Routh's Superman, but I was like, I don't know, maybe 7 at the time. But when I started watching Tyler come in as Superman, since, I don't know, Supergirl was on, I just felt like he was the Superman of my generation, but I was still too young to watch any of the other stuff over the years, like Tom Welling's Superman. I was too young to watch that at the time. But for as long as I can remember, Tyler's been the guy to watch as Superman.
Oh, I love that.
What is it like to be on the set working with the cast and the crew?
So much fun. Oh my God, it's so much fun. I'm so shocked that I'm so shocked that we do as many group scenes as we've done in the past, because it's just nothing but everybody sort of bursting out laughing. The green room is a bit of a loud mess at times. Um, but it's so much fun because everybody really puts their all into it. Every department shows up like ready to work with so much love and so much drive and passion involved in it. And so it feels incredible to be around that energy, and the back lot that was created and built as downtown Smallville is really felt like a home for the past 3 years, because that's usually where Chrissy is. So I felt very at home in this like fake downtown. You know, 2 blocks of beautifully crafted storefronts. And
That's why I love the work of the crew and the creativity department. They just inspire, they just blow me away with everything that they do behind the scenes.
oh my God, it's incredible. And every detail is looked at and nothing is overlooked at all. I mean, I can get lost in the Gazette, just like really going over like all of the books, all of the notepads, like every pen is different, everything is different. And it's really, really taken care of in that way.
And you mentioned when we were talking about Eric earlier that he was a character that you never, a person that you never really got a chance to work with during your time on the show. Is there another character that you like to work with a little bit more?
I would love to work with, you know what? I would love to work with Dylan. Like we've had, you know, in group scenes, we've had like interactions like here and there. And it was so much fun. I remember last season when Chrissy, when they were all tailing Allie Alston and they were in the car together. That was like one of the like funniest interactions I could have ever asked for. And Dylan is so talented, and it was just such a fun time on set. I would really, really love to work with him.
And I would love to see more of that. Dylan is a really great actor. I've seen him in so many movies and TV shows. And when he was cast for the General, and they recasted the guy that played him on Supergirl, I thought it was a very interesting take of the casting. But then when I started watching the show, he was just so perfect for it. Like very intimidating when it comes to play General Lane.
Yeah, and then also very funny, very like slyly funny. It works. It's incredible. I'm so lucky that this season I got to work with Indy. I mean, it's been so much fun. So I really hope that we get the opportunity to play a little bit more.
And now that yours and Eric's are the relationship is out in the public now, so hopefully we can see something between you and Lana at some point.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the things that I was the most worried about at the beginning of the season, where my initial reaction was actually, well, what about Lana? Like I was very much dreading any bit of the reveal or any bit of the confrontation. But I mean, on the flip side of that, then I get to work with Emmanuel. So, so that's fine.
What has the experience on the show been like for you since starting?
I feel like there's not one word for it, but I will forever be grateful for being on the show. It's like, really, we've built such a home and such a community and such a family. Whether we're in Vancouver or whether everyone's at their home bases, I feel so lucky to have not only met these people, but to also call them my friends and incredible colleagues. And, you know, our crew is phenomenal. Like I don't know, I feel like I just extended my family, if that makes sense. Like it just really feels so good. It really feels so good.
And that made me really happy to hear that, because I don't know what I would do if I was on that set hanging out with you guys. I think I'd be a little overwhelmed in that experience, but also have a lot of fun at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was very overwhelming for me in the beginning. I'll be totally honest about that. Like, I went there, I knew one person, and it was at the height of COVID, and so there wasn't a lot of interacting if you weren't working, and I wasn't working all that much, but I was still in Vancouver, not really being able to come back and forth. But honestly, looking at it now, it was really such a blessing because we all got to know each other and we all got to build a bond. And it's pretty unbreakable, I would have to say.
By watching the show, I feel like I got to know you guys even more.
I love to hear that.
That's
I
what's so great about a show like Superman and Lois. You just feel all this connection to the characters, and you're just hoping that each season gets renewed, and you don't want this little get together to end.
Yeah, right. I totally get that, but it makes me so happy to hear that.
Were there any kind of challenges that you had to go through?
Um, as myself or Chrissy, me
Or
personally.
you or Chrissy, like what is the challenge thing like to play the character or be on the show to portray her?
I would say, she's such a balance of so many different, she's so beautifully all over the place. On the one hand, she's very intelligent. She is this go-getter. She was running the Gazette all on her own for such a long time before Lois came into Smallville and became partners with her. And then she's also really fun. And you hear like in the little bit of the tidbits, the word vomit that she has, and you get a glimpse into her life before the show, I guess. And she's she's mentioning all of these, like festivals that she would go to, or the guys that she used to date, and like small little things like that. So it was really fun getting a glimpse of what Chrissy's past was and what led her there. And I would say maybe the challenges for her was that she was so enamored with Lois, like professionally, like Lois was her idol. And last season we got to see a little bit of that tension as they did get to work together as partners. And that was a really interesting time, I think, in Chrissy's life. And we got to see on the show. But I would say maybe the most challenging thing for me, I'm so close to my family. I'm so close to my family. And it was really hard that first year to be up there and to only get to see them a couple of times in a span of 10 months. And so there was a bit of that longing to just come back home and, be with my people. But again, like I said before, if somebody would have told me then that it was a blessing in disguise, I probably would have laughed it off. But now I can really look at it and be like, well, we all got to stick together and bond. We had nowhere else to go.
Especially when around the time the show started, we were in the middle of the pandemic and everything, and you got to have a little time with the cast. So I guess it wasn't too lonely, maybe. Like,
Oh no, it wasn't lonely at all. It was definitely difficult in the beginning. I tend to be a shyer person until I get to know somebody.
right, me too.
Yeah, and so I can tend to kind of just sort of cocoon a little bit. So shaking out of that definitely required a little bit of work, I think.
Um, what was your favorite scene or episode to film so far?
Favorite episode or scene. And now I don't know. It's so funny. I love the beginnings and ends of things. I don't know why. I love it so much because you can just see all of it happen. So I mean, yeah, I would have to say, what would it be? I love really any scene where Lois and Clark and Chrissy are working at the Gazette together. I love that dynamic so much. I really do. Everyone sort of just like balances each other in this really phenomenal way, all this like different energy that each character brings. And it's just so much fun on set. So probably anything having to do with that group, the Lois and Clark duo, I love.
The scene that sticks out to me the most when I look back on one of your scenes, I think it was in Bizarro World.
Okay. Yes,
And,
Bizarro World. Oh my God. Yes, Bizarro World.
where you and Ian Bowen had a scene together and he was asking
Yeah.
for help and you kind of guide him to Lois Lane. I don't know why that's ingrained in me. That's the only one I seem to remember the most.
Oh, I love that. I love that was a really fun scene to play, and being in Bizarro World and being Bizarro Chrissy was so much fun, and learning that dialogue was again so great. And you're right, it was a real special moment where she was like, go find her, get help.
I don't know why that one keeps coming back to me. That seems to be a little out of place. Out of all the scenes I had to pick, that one comes to my mind.
It was a pretty serious heightened scene. Yeah, I can't even believe that there was yeah, wow, that totally escaped my mind. All of Bizarro World somehow escaped my mind.
Oh my gosh, it was after season 2. I started to watch Tyler and Ian in Teen Wolf, so I don't know if that's why I keep coming back to that one.
Maybe, I know. How fun is that? What a full circle situation.
It's like oh my gosh, it's all connected. It's all one big crossover right there.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big reveal at the end. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, we got to see the Bizarro World. I actually have a question about that as well. If the Bizarro World existed, what would your doppelganger be like?
My personal doppelganger?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a great question. Oh, what would she be like? I don't know. I actually I don't know. You know, I think she'd be a lot more bold. I'd say she'd be bolder. I feel like she would kind of look a little bit like Bizarro Chrissy, to be totally honest with you.
That was a cool look.
That was a very, 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 very cool look. And I know that would be my doppelganger because I couldn't in my real life pull that off. So there is a different level of bold confidence that comes with that. So yeah, I would like to aspire to that, or hope that my doppelganger in real life would be Bizarro Chrissy.
It's so funny. I have the same question exactly to Eric and Adam when I spoke to them. I got incredible responses on that one, and yours definitely surprised me the most when you say you wanted to be Bizarro Chrissy in real life.
Oh my God. Now I'm like, what did they say? Oh,
A couple more questions. If you could be a hero or a villain, who would you be?
oh, I think about this sometimes. I think it'd be really interesting being a villain. I think it would, because as we saw, Adam started off like a bit villainous, and then, but somehow, for some reason, I look back on it and I'm like, wow, he really found a way to get people to connect with him.
Right. Yeah.
What an incredible challenge that would be. But I think that I would probably be a superhero. I have a hard time doing anything not nice. So I'm like,
Well, right now I consider that my autism and my hearing loss as a superpower. So I kind of see myself as a hero of my own story kind of way, because I've exceeded many expectations in my life here.
yeah.
And I use a lot of pop culture as my influence.
Oh, I love that. I think we're all superheroes,
There's
Yeah.
always going to be the villain in the story, no matter what.
I know. As I said that, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Maybe we're all superheroes to ourselves. You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, when you look back at that.
Yeah, I think maybe even villains have that thing of like, well, I'm right in what I'm doing. So maybe I don't know, maybe there's that, or maybe I'm overthinking.
There are villains who have redemption arcs, so you never know.
Yes, yeah, you're right. You never know.
2 more questions. Who is your favorite DC character and or TV show or movie?
My favorite character, it's going to sound so cheesy to say, but it really is Superman. I do really admire what he stands for, and I really appreciate the message of Superman in that way. to have these incredible powers, to use them for good, to really care about humanity, and to always try and see the good in people. That's really something to aspire to. So
Superman's just one of the most positive characters you can ever look at.
yeah, so I have to say it because I believe it.
So are you now? I believe season 3 has finished filming already.
Yeah.
Are you currently working on any new projects?
Right now, no, my project is being at home, being with my dog, being with my family and my partner, and yeah, and watching the episodes of Superman.
Well, I definitely hope the show gets renewed for another season. I'm hearing a lot of articles. I've read a lot of articles about the whole HBO Max thing. So if there's a renewal, I hope someone can save it somewhere.
Oh, I hope that too. I hope that too. We got plenty more
Whether it's
stories.
not on the CW, I hope someone else picks it up because I don't know what I'll do without another cancellation.
I know. I know.
Everything I watch nowadays like to get canceled. And now the Arrowverse is over, so what am I gonna do now?
Well, fingers crossed that we get to come back, but I think that we're all carrying very optimistic about it, and we're very hopeful about it. And like I
I'm
said,
crossing my fingers here.
ditto.
I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I had so much fun getting to know you and to talk about the show. It's been a great honor.
Oh my God, this was so much fun, such a blast. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to
Welcome. I
one.
will post a video on YouTube. I'll take you on Instagram and I'll send a link over to Tom.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome. Thank you again.
all right, bye.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too.